Yeah. You want to start?
Sure. It's crazy to imagine how much the scene evolves. In our early rehearsals, at the end, it was like the end of a boxing match, and we rose the winner's hand up, and we just found things the more and more we rehearsed that would add to the scene.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, you have something like my third scene for acting 220 is a Greek play, and it's so different acting that comparatively to something contemporary like this. And then what you're able, I mean, you discover things either way, but from this scene being like two guys that are like supposed to be brothers and stuff, it's really interesting. Like the more we did it, the better it got, and the more natural it got. And like he said, we just found every time new things. Like for me, like swinging over his head, like kind of like boxing trainers do, where they do that, and then they have the cross come over and the guy's duck, and he falls, and so it's kind of this bigger metaphor for this thing too. But like we didn't discover that till like the day before we actually did it for the grade. But it just because it just came naturally, and then we're like, oh, that's cool. Let's go with it further and take this further, and then it was like the closer that we got, the more comfortable we got with each other, the more brotherly it somewhat became and all that. But I mean, we haven't done the scene in 2.5 weeks, but or more. But
and it was slow getting started, but once we realized we had like playing Nintendo 64 in common, the brotherhood was established that much more, and so it felt more genuine when we got after we got.
Gotta love that Firefox,
Questions from the class? Anybody about the content of the scene, the process, anything at all?
What do you guys think of the play?
I mean, I really, it's very compelling, to say the least, and I think that the power to me in the play, at least, is in the simplicity and the ordinariness that comes across with it, and the fact that there's something so significant and real behind it that everyone can connect to some way or another, and I think that makes it a really significant piece of art, writing that way. And so yeah, I really like it in that sense. It's probably my favorite scene, this one, to do all the acting class. This is probably Sean's cool, I guess, too.
And imagining myself in the role made the play a lot different for me, and reading it again was a whole new experience. After reading it through, then practicing performing it, then reading it again to say what's actually happening here, and I found so much more.
I was just curious how you guys decided to play. Like, why did you play Happy and you played Biff? Like, why?
I don't know. I think we just did it.
Did you guys feel like you identified with those characters more so, or?
The process of acting methods is on the first assignment is you give the class an auto drama, and you let everybody know who you are, and you act out the 5 or 6 most significant moments in your life. And so from that, Al Schnupp, the professor in that class, determines what characters he thinks fit you best, and that's how he assigned our characters. And it's a scary process to share your biggest life-changing moments with a class of people you just met, but in the end, it will help you to be most open and find what your actual character is, and have other people help you do that.
I think that's a really valuable thing to consider. Goodness knows there are a variety of different actor training methods, but when you think about the kinds of states of vulnerability, the exposure of the individual characters, that kind of experience, or you yourself as a performer to go through, to open up, to trust those on stage with you as a person, directly transfers to those scenes when these characters are completely bearing their souls, that you're willing to commit to that, to go all the way with those kinds of scenes. So I can imagine that was a very useful exercise for you guys to go through.
Yeah, very much. Definitely just, trusting each other, and then like having a little bit of background on the person too. It's like, it's not like you're like, oh, I got something on you and you got something on me, but there's just that understanding that we're both like human and we have these issues in a sense, and I feel for you and you feel for me, and in that we can connect and be real with each other. So yeah, definitely is significant.
Well, I want to say thanks again.
Yeah, definitely.
For